Well, hello pals, and welcome to another Brand Day Makeover. Today is going to be really fun because I'm actually going to be working with my friend to give her brand identity a little refresh.
Oh my God, I'm actually going to have like an Instagram grid that looks nice. Literally run to these expos, like, look at my sign.
And it's also going to be quite a challenge because she is also a designer. So I'm equally as excited as I am nervous. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Chloe and I am a one-woman brand design team who is helping small businesses transform their brand identities in just one day. As I said, today I'm joined by my good friend Rachel Mess, who is a web designer and she builds beautiful but accessible websites. I am so buzzing to help Rachel bring her brand identity to life, but before we do that, let's give her a quick call to see how we can help. Morning!
How are we?
I am great. So, you are a website designer, Rachel, and your focus is accessibility. Can you talk to me a wee
Yeah.
bit more about that? What services that you provide, who it's for, and sort of why you started?
Predominantly who it's for is service providers. So what the services are is custom web design and development, a bit of the branding as well. So, and that's probably where the accessibility comes in because when it comes to like kind of brand identity, if we're looking at like new fonts and color palettes and things like that, then I'll deal with all of that. The accessibility side came in because of Sister Hannah, because she's visually impaired and she would like point out things that she struggled with on websites. And then that just made me kind of be like, oh, I need to learn about this so that I'm not handing off a website to somebody and I think it's fine and they think it's great, but
Yeah.
there's actually somebody on the other side of a screen somewhere that then doesn't book with that client because they can't read it or they can't navigate it because then I've not really done my job properly.
Yeah, so that's, I imagine, is going to be very important for your brand and is to have high contrast and
Yeah.
colour and typeface that is easily readable.
I think a big part of the branding will just help me feel a lot more confident. I'm going to like more events and things this year. And like I've got an expo stand at one of them as well. So I need to get like banners and everything made. And I've just never loved my branding.
Mhm.
And then with the accessibility side of it, plus also wanting to get like my personality into it, I've always just really struggled. So I'm really excited to hand that problem over to you and then showing potential clients that an accessible website and accessible branding like doesn't have to be boring.
Definitely create you like a banner mock-up of what that could look
That'd be
like.
fab. That'd be
Uh,
so good. Yep.
so you mentioned your current branding. What is it that you don't like about it at the minute?
I've always had this little kind of triangle like symbol in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of trying to be like, oh, I like these, and it's like creative and that thing, and it means nothing. It doesn't make sense to anybody. I don't know, and I've just never liked it. I've never loved my colors that I've picked. The clients that I've liked working with best, it's basically been like their personalities and them as people
Yes.
that I've connected with, and nothing to do with the industry that they work in.
Yes. Okay, cool. So we want your
Yeah.
branding to reflect that for you as well, because then if you're doing that, then you'll attract that. So yeah, thank you for sharing all that with me. I'm gonna share with you now your mood board.
Honestly, I just love it. Yep.
Buzzwords. So we've got light, happy, approachable, accessible, and kind of retro. Megan's logo is a really nice type-based logo. Is that something that you're looking for? Just something that's mostly
Yeah, I think.
type-based? And then
Yeah, I think so.
I've really loved these sort of like UI icons. You are very colourful and you love your colours. Is there any colours that you want me to stay away from?
Nothing too like pastel-y, sort of darker tones, but I still want it to be bright and colourful and happy.
But yeah, there's this one as well. I think it was down here, the little testimonial design. What was it you liked about that?
Uh-huh. I really liked how they just had like they were bringing in different colours. Thought that was a really clever way to like bring in colour without it being really in your face and really loud.
Yep.
Because again, that's like an accessibility thing.
But yeah, so how do you feel looking at this? Do you feel like it's on the right track?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I'm just excited. I'm
Yeah, it's
buzzing.
awesome. Right,
Right.
Rachel, I'll speak to you
Have a
later.
good day. See
You
ya.
too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so after that call with Rachel, there are a few things that we need to focus on for this brand identity. Number one is that accessibility is central to the brand. It's not just a feature, it is a core value to Rachel. So it's really important that everything we do, we take that into consideration. She wants high contrast, readable typography, and also really thoughtful colour choices. But accessibility does not mean boring, so we're still going to concentrate on a little bit of personality and a little bit of fun. So that brings me nicely on to number 2, which is balance between professionalism and playfulness. Rachel wants her brand identity to feel happy, thoughtful, and inclusive, but she is really drawn to retro colours, which is right up my street, and bold aesthetics. So looking at chunky fonts and quite deep and rich colours. She really wants her brand to reflect her personality, but also still have that professional feel that will bring in clients. And number 3, she needs assets that will help her build her confidence and give her flexibility. Rachel is going to an expo very soon and she wants to have some banners, so it's really important to her that she's confident and proud of her brand identity. We're thinking along the lines of a strong type-based logo with some iconography to help her create some versatile assets, but not too complex and really simple. The overall goal here for this brand identity is to give Rachel that confidence to show off her brand identity, but to also communicate the services and capabilities that she has as a web designer. And not forgetting that most important element, accessibility. So with these key takeaways, I have a very clear vision of where I want to take this brand identity. So let's get started. So I started this process with some font exploration with Adobe fonts, and I used the filters to find some chunky, retro-inspired but readable fonts. Honestly, I absolutely love this part of the process, and I could easily sit for about 7 hours looking through fonts, but it is usually helpful for me to restrict myself to about 5 to 6 fonts, and then I can narrow them down later. From there, I chose 3 fonts that I was drawn to the most and created some basic examples of how the logo would look with and without a tagline. For me, these 3 fonts were heavy enough that they were still accessible, but also had a bit of personality. There were definitely different degrees of retro styling as well, which I know Rachel was really keen to bring into the design. So ultimately, I also thought that lowercase was the best way forward, as capitals just felt far too strong and not friendly enough in these display fonts. As always, I really struggled to pick one font, but I ended up going with the top one, which is called Urbana, but there were some things that I wanted to change about this font and customise. On this font, I really didn't like the balance of the harsh lines and the rounded edges, so I really wanted to add some roundness to this font. So to make this wordmark customised and a little bit softer, I just went in with the anchor tool and started to round off some of the edges. Some may say that this is a bit tedious, but genuinely this is like therapy for me, going through each letter and just making sure that I'm happy with each and every one of them. So now that we have a font, before we move on to adding some colour, I really wanted to explore the shapes that I was going to use to create iconography for Rachel, using inspiration from the wordmark that I just created. Being a web designer, I thought it would be great to give Rachel some basic icons that she could use throughout her own website. These could be used to visually communicate services on her website and give her some extra versatility when creating things like social media posts. I started by exploring some block shapes inspired by retro patterns and seeing how they would fit with web design iconography. For example, a mouse arrow, box containers, settings, toggle bars, and other common user interface shapes. This is where my degree was really coming in handy because we did a lot of user interface design, so I feel like these shapes are already ingrained in my brain. I also use Rachel's current website as a reference for the services and copywriting that she already has, so that I could then match them with iconography that would actually suit. Once I had the basic shapes, I added some small details to them to create fun and playful icons. Doing it this way meant that this would give both me and Rachel basic shapes to use when creating assets for her business, like her expo banners, business cards, or social media templates. This just adds more depth and personality to the identity, plus I'm a sucker for big bold shapes, so I was really excited to use these further on in the process. But unexpectedly, I had an idea for a logo mark. When I can, I always like to give my clients something interactive within their brand identity. So after creating the iconography, I noticed that I could merge 2 of the shapes together to create a logo mark. I had the idea to merge the mouse arrow with one of the retro shapes because, much to my surprise, they fitted together like a glove. I cannot tell you how much satisfaction I got by seeing how the tip of the mouse arrow perfectly slotted in with the sort of out turds of the retro shape. I don't even know what you call them. Like the little bubble shapes around the edges of the shape. I don't know what the hell they're called. But I just thought they fitted together so perfectly. And to make it interactive, I could also spin the arrow around to fit in the different kind of shapes around the big shape. Oh my god, I actually cannot explain this very well, but you know what I mean because you can see me doing it. But I thought how fun that she could use this arrow to like signpost to things on her website or in her other brand materials. So it's just a nice little interactive element, and it's a really nice tidy logo mark as well. It's really easy for scaling, and I think it could look really great as a favicon on her website as well. I think the logo mark also gave that balance of professionalism and personality that Rachel was looking for, which is exactly what our business is all about. With the word mark and logo mark finalised, I got to making some logo variations. I always love this part because it sometimes feels like you're kind of putting together a puzzle. Rachel also had different taglines that she wanted to try, so it was important that I gave her some options to choose from in our collaborative review. But before that review, it was now time for the final piece, which is her colour palette. For Rachel's brand colour palette, accessibility is key. She really wanted her brand to feel light, happy and thoughtful, and this is where colour can really do that for her brand. Referring back to her mood board, it was clear that Rachel was really drawn to rich teals, deep pinks and oranges, and we're going to stay away completely from pastels. I am all for colour, so I was more than happy to give Rachel more than just one primary colour and one secondary colour, but it was vital that they complemented each other and were accessible. For her primary colour, I went for this deep pink / red. I think it was the strongest and also gave her the highest contrast, and it was also really playful but still a professional colour. To warm up the palette, instead of using a harsh white, I used an off-white tone. This gave it a more retro feel as well. I then added 2 accent colours, a green and an orange, and with that, the concept was now ready to show Rachel in our collaborative review. Okay, so Rachel absolutely loved her logo mark and iconography, but there was one big change that she wanted to make. Rachel wasn't 100% sure on the font choice. She felt like it was maybe a bit too thick and chunky. However, I always have a backup font just in case for situations like this, and thank God I did, because the second font that I showed her, she instantly fell in love with it and knew it was right for her brand. We both agreed that it was a little bit more stylised, but it was thinner and it still had those retro flares that she was looking for. We also loved how the M in her name slotted gorgeously up against the L, which is really sad now that I think about it, but it made us both very, very happy, and it just made the logo look nice and tidy. We also made one adjustment to her colour palette. She absolutely loved the primary colour choice, but she wanted another high contrast and darker colour to go with it for accessibility reasons. So we added in a dark teal along with the green and the orange, just to give her some options when she's designing for her brand. And with those changes, we had one happy as Larry client and also one very happy and less nervous designer. I'm so thrilled that she fell in love with the design as soon as she seen it, and we just made those tweaks and now it's absolutely perfect. So now I'm going to take it away and make some stunning mock-ups for the final brand reveal. We interrupt this programme to bring you a top tip from the Chatty Freelancer. Okay, so you've created your brand's colour palette. It's stunning, it's gorgeous, it's complimentary and you love it, but it's not accessible. The contrasts are nowhere near high enough and it's actually quite hard to read things. But don't fret, pal, because I have a very easy tool for you to use that will allow you to check your contrast levels to make sure that your brand colour palette is accessible. All you want to do is head to Colour Contrast Studio and use their free colour contrast checker. All you got to do is enter your hex codes, and if you score above 4.5, you are good to go. But if it is below, then you will either need to lighten or darken your colours. And it is really as easy as that. You can check all your colours against each other and see what work better for accessibility. Quick shout out to the queen of accessibility herself, Rachel, for telling me about this tool. I have no excuses now for my colour palettes not to be accessible, and neither do you. Yes, we're all good to go. I'm so excited to...
Me too. Actually, get me.
Ooh, there we go.
I love it. I just like I love the icon so much. Like it's so simple, but just like gorgeous that I never would have thought of it. And I love it.
I think it's dead. It's still pretty and it's still your personality, but I think it's still really like fun and
Yeah.
versatile. And yeah, for example, this is your final color palette. So we've got your main logo, and then we've got your sub logo, which will have your tagline on it. And then I've also got a couple of variations of the logo as well. And
Yep.
it is really simple. Like it is super simple, but I think it's still really versatile and it's really
That's what I was going to say. So versatile and just a way to really, really neatly and on brand, like just get like the messaging throughout.
how do you feel
Yep.
looking at
I
this?
love it, Chloe. I honestly love it. It's so good. It's fun and it's bold, but it is still really like simple and easy to read.
Made some icons as well. So we've got
I
some
love
really gorgeous, cute, little chunky, chubby
mm.
icons. I just think they're really nice and
And
really.
that was such a surprise. Like I really wasn't expecting this as well. So
I'm all about over delivering, Rachel.
I
You
know.
delivering. So this would be your wee business card.
That's so nice.
But I love the colours together. They look so good.
Yeah, they're so nice.
So this is what
Oh, fab.
the little socials mock up for you, but this just kind of gives you again just a wee idea of like how you can use the shapes and incorporate them. And I think simplicity is key here because you're
Yeah,
so about accessibility and
yeah.
yeah, it looks
Oh my
perfect.
God, I'm actually going to have like an Instagram grid that looks nice.
So this is just like a little, and you're a website designer, so that take this with a pinch of salt. But this is really just to show you
Love it
what
though.
this could
Love
look
it.
like on your
Yep.
website.
It does. And look at you using that arrow to point to the price.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Again, just something in your arsenal to be able to use if you feel like
Yeah.
something's looking really bland. And
I feel really happy looking at it.
this was just a quick mock up that I've put
Yep.
together. Like this isn't like a final thing or anything. This was
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
to show you what you could
Yep.
do with your expo banner if you were to go away.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you so much for
Amazing. No,
trusting me.
thank you. Thank you.
How was your
And do you know what? I knew I was going to love it. Like I just knew I was because like your work is so good. Like yours is so good for really like capturing your personality and you
Hmm.
got that clarity on like what you wanted it to be. And I've just never been able to like get there myself.
But now you
So I was just like, Chloe will help.
have.
Literally run to these expos, like, look at my
Look at my beautiful branding.
sign. I cannot recommend working with Chloe enough. It's been about 5 months, I think, since I had my brand day makeover, and I'm still just absolutely obsessed with my branding. I had been struggling for years with my branding. As a designer, I really enjoy doing some branding work for clients, but designing it for myself, I can never hit the nail on the head in terms of the feel and the kind of look that I wanted the branded to have. And after many an attempt, I had seen Chloe's offer and absolutely jumped at the chance. And she just did not disappoint. She absolutely knocked it out of the park. And ever since then, I have felt so much more confident in showing up in my marketing. I have updated my own website, obviously, but the amount that I'm actually now showing up and just putting the branding to use is crazy in comparison to what I was doing before. I was definitely hiding before I got the branding work done, and I just can't recommend it enough. If you have been struggling with your branding and you know that it needs a refresh and you feel like it is holding you back, then what are you waiting for? Definitely book the Brand Day Makeover. It's really fun, the fact that you get so much value out of one day and it's so cost effective. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Chloe just did an amazing job. Yeah, thank you so much again.
Well, that is another tick in the box. I am so thrilled with how much Rachel loves her new brand identity. As I said at the start, I was a little bit nervous because she's also a designer, and I feel like, yeah, designing for designers can be quite difficult. But this was an absolute breeze. Rachel was a dream to work with, and she just knew her vision, and I'm just so happy that she trusted me with it. And I just think it looks so fun. It's very her, but it's also working for her business as well, which is the most important thing. So yeah, I am. If you enjoyed this brand day makeover, please give it a big thumbs up. Comment what do you think about this brand identity, and yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. I still have no clue what I'm doing here. I'm just making videos, I'm just having fun, and I've already got another few brand day makeovers in the works, which is really exciting. So until then, cheerio bye.